alternative, complementary, which you've been following and promoting through the Annie Appleseed Project.
And I'm so glad that we live near each other, because I have counted on you so many times to help us out at health fairs and events where people really need to hear a voice of a woman who understands the issues. I mean, I could get people to come and stand at a table, but they wouldn't understand the way you do. And I respect your deep knowledge, understanding, commitment, and use of natural medicine.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny because when I did find out that I had cancer in 1975, I really, I just did what I had to do, and I had to use my brains, and I had to think common sense. What could possibly, create this imbalance in my body, and what was I going to do to heal myself? And I was guided the whole way. I just happened to be taking a class in Chinese medicine. I just happened to meet a man who had come back from China, and he was so excited about acupuncture and herbs. He introduced me to a local acupuncturist who was literally right off the boat, and he didn't really speak much English, but he just looked me in the eye and he just said, "No problem, I fix."
It's so amazing. I mean, especially 1970s, when people didn't have any understanding of this kind of thing at all. It wasn't until later that some shows were on PBS channels talking about acupuncture, Chinese medicine, other things that people didn't know about. Most of us marched to the doctor, whatever they said. I mean, my mother was told, "Oh, you don't want to breastfeed, that's so old-fashioned." And here you were discovering that the old fashions were really important and useful. I respect that very much.
Well, I just kind of felt like, I didn't believe that I needed anything serious like surgery or any kind of chemotherapy or anything rough. I felt that my body would teach me. I trusted my body, and I still trust my body. I'll be 73 in August. I'm going hiking in Italy. I'm a nutcase.
Powerful woman, powerful woman. You mentioned it happened, it just happened. And I like that because I always think about the idea that there are no accidents. And in our world, it seems they're not, because we can identify a pattern and a thread that led us to where we are.
I like that idea of the pattern of the thread, and call it whatever you want. But I feel very grateful to that pattern and that thread that is breathing me and putting me in the right place at the right time, without doubt, without fear. I'm here because I was born and I'm breathing, and one day there's like two walls, right? And I come into the world, I'm breathing, and one day I'll go out, and of course I'm going to want to go out as in this fun, joyful experience of knowing nothing. And that's really what I think I discovered back in the 60s when I also marched in New York. I hung out with some very interesting Black Panthers for a while. I took care of their kids while they were out there marching and doing things, whatever. And I read amazing books by people involved in the human potential movement, which was way before this New Age movement, which that's on shaky ground for me. I don't really feel like even though I wear a nice, necklace that comes from Native Americans, and I have great respect for that culture, knowing so many things about the history that most people were never taught. None of us were taught that in high school. But in general, I just want to be very solid on the earth. I don't need to have any kind of thoughts that are going on at the same time that I'm having this experience of being a human being.
So you're using all of your experience and your expertise to help other people, and that's really incredible. I mean, I worked with you for a week for my health, and it was really wonderful, a great experience, and I know that so many people have benefited. I admire that as well about what you do. To me, there's never any one path to wellness. There's so many, and you have incorporated so many, and I respect that.
Well, I never quite know exactly what a person's going to need until they're sitting in front of me and I get information. They give me certain information, and then intuitively I feel certain things. And some people might need a juice fast. and certain kinds of juices, and some people might need soup.
All right.
You know, I mean, there's no rules. There's no rules.
Well, I think this, listening is a very important thing of what we both do. We have to hear what people need. And then I always feel like I throw out an array of ideas to them, and they'll grasp what they need. They'll see in those threads, oh yeah, that would be excellent. Do you find that?
Absolutely. They just feel, an attraction to a certain aspect of what they will need in order to calm themselves down.
Yes.
All right, calming themselves down, calming myself down. How do I do that? How do I go one foot after another so that I don't fall because I have my mind somewhere else? Well, I have been disciplining my mind to keep me focused on my passions. I got work to do, Anne.
And people need your help.
Yeah.
And happily they find you, and hopefully more will find you because so many people need help. Apropos of that, we have a lot of discussion these days about the amount of depression in the world. And I always think we need to look upstream and figure out why and where is it all coming from. And I'm sure both of us share the belief that it's lifestyle driven and environmental pollutants. I believe those things impact our health, our well-being, and certainly the depression thing, because not everybody used to be depressed in our world, and yet now that's the biggest conversation.
Well, what we expose ourselels to, just for example, my remote broke on my TV about 3 months
Tragedy.
ago.
In most households.
I can't change the channel of the regular, cable TV, satellite TV, and I can't make it, it just didn't work. And of course, it's a pain in the neck to even go out and buy another one and reprogram. So I just decided I would just watch Netflix. So I have had a ball watching some of the most incredible documentaries. There are no excuses. Everything that we would ever need, even Ali Wong, this incredible Asian comedian, had me in hysterics this morning. Laughter, laughter, laughter. It is so important. But I also watched this amazing documentary last night, and I had read the book many years ago by Rachel Carson, The Silent Spring. Oh my God. Oh my God, she was unbelievable. She was the beginning of our questioning of pesticides.
My mother read the book and remarked on it so that the rest of the family read it when she did, and it was very, very powerful. You're right. Sadly, she died of breast cancer, which I was always aware of.
Wow, wow.
Poignant.
Wow, yeah, powerful people. So my goal in life, if I'm going to, quote, entertain and expose myself to things, because I want to be that powerful woman that makes changes on planet Earth, firstly, I have to make those changes within myself. I get my inspiration from powerful women. And that's what I do. I expose myself to powerful women. Actually, a little story: when I was born, 1945, in New York, my mother had a beautiful private room, and Eleanor Roosevelt's niece was in the next room. And Eleanor Roosevelt would peek in to say hi to my mother every day for those 10 days because they must have given birth around the same time. So my mother always told me that story, and long story short, later in my life, I ended up sleeping in the room in her New York townhouse. And I'm not going to mention names or anything like that, but how does that happen?
So amazingly, we both have a strong feeling and connection for Eleanor Roosevelt, who was a very powerful woman, a lot of strength, a lot of character, and certainly at a time when women were not well respected. I see this as a time of change, and I hope that it continues for women, for people of color, for minorities. The world needs to change.
Okay, and we're changing it from our perspective. Annie Appleseed Project is one of my most favorite opportunities to share, both in the exhibit table perspective, going to the conferences every year. It's a small conference on some level, but it is so powerful. And anyone who's ever been to the Annie Appleseed Project will most likely tell other people about it little by little. It could grow or not. It can be it's a place, we're like a tribe. And I love that about it, because I like having a tribe.
I agree. It's a very great experience, and I'm always so busy that I don't enjoy it quite as much as other people. I listen to the speakers on their CD or DVD after the conference.
Good for you.
But one thing that you mentioned about it, so it's a conference that is unique in the atmosphere, the caring atmosphere that's created, and that's very important to everybody. The reason we hold it every year is because people want to meet face to face and feel that support and caring atmosphere. This year, right after the conference, about a month after, we got an email from a woman who said she followed the protocol of eating organic, removing sugar and junk from her diet and so on, and she said, and being physically active, trying to enjoy life, not stress about it. And she said that her cancer numbers, actually, the markers went down in 1 month from
Wow.
just being on that program.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we experience this in our life and in our
I
work.
love it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the motivator for you, that you know that you're successfully helping people with each client. You
Right.
make a real difference.
Right. And for me, it's not just working with people who technically have cancer, okay? We've all been exposed to all kinds of toxins in this environment wherever we are, especially people living in major cities. But even here, I'm in an over 55 community, and they spray outside my door. So what am I gonna do? You know, I'm gonna do everything I can possibly do to maintain a very healthy lifestyle, at the same time have my head in the right place, so I don't like drive myself crazy with worry and fear.
Yeah.
Okay?
Good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life's too short to be worrying all the time.
No.
I mean, there are issues. I feel like concern and worry don't have to coexist. You know, you don't have to worry about it, but you can be concerned. You can
Right.
focus on helping, making a
Right.
change,
Right.
but not suffering
Right.
emotionally from it. And
Right.
obviously you're living that.
I am. You know what? I'm actually living the life of my dreams. That's how I feel about my life
Yeah,
every
that's
day when I
great.
wake up. I'm just so grateful, and I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for other friends that I have in my life. And I also am grateful that I live alone, and that I have time to do all the things that I'm doing, which I'm training myself to be an audio engineer, to eventually have audio books, because people are so busy. So I am coming out sometime within the year with an audio book called Latkes in the Jungle. Okay? It needs a little more work, a little editing, and I'm going to work on it when I go away to Italy for a month almost, and I'm going to really make it the best thing that I've ever done. And it'll be an audiobook. It'll also be a PDF, so you can read it on Kindle.
It sounds wonderful. Are you doing a retreat in Italy, or you're just going?
I'm the retreat.
Uh-huh. Recharge.
I'm
okay.
recharging,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Great. That's wonderful. I know you've been to Italy before, and it's made a big difference for you. I've yet to go, and I still hope to. One of these years, I'd like to join you,
Well,
perhaps.
maybe, you know, every time I go, I look around at possibilities of places where I could bring my friends. Okay, and we could, you know, maybe rent a nice villa and have this beautiful organic food. I mean, the food is so right out of the ground. It's incredible.
Is that true about all the food of Italy, or just
No,
specifically
it's when
seeking?
you're specifically either in the national parks where they have agriturismis. My Italian's bad, but I'm going to work on it. And so, I mean, I was in Sicily a few years ago, and literally stayed on a farm that was not only organic and used old Sicilian methods, but also they trained in the Rudolf Steiner biodynamic farming method. And I mean, that, of course, I don't know if I can find that this year, but I'm gonna go out of my way. I'm gonna be looking for farmers, and I'm gonna practice the Italian I need to practice in order to be able to speak to them about whether or not they spray.
Yeah, that's great. Those are some of the words I like to learn in a
Yes.
foreign language if I'm traveling to, you know, biologique. You need to know that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That was French, by the way, not
Yes,
Italian. but- yeah.
biologic,
Yeah,
biologic, something like that. We'll be fine.
that's
Well,
great.
thank you so much for this little chit chat, and you and I just have this wonderful dimension that we can kind of get ourselves into, where we feel what's going on.